My child, this day did not have to lead you to this moment. You could have continued moving, continued filling every hour with all the things asking for your attention. But something kept you here. Something inside you became still and said, "Listen." That was not your own thought. That was me. I am speaking to you now, not to a crowd, not to everyone in general, but to you exactly as you are in this hour, with whatever feels heavy inside your chest, with whatever questions have been moving around in your mind, with whatever hope you have been too afraid to say out loud, because you feared it might fall apart again. I am speaking directly into that place. The burden you have been carrying is not hidden from me. You entered this moment carrying more than most people around you understand. You have been dealing with things that are difficult to explain. Worries that begin as soon as you open your eyes in the morning. A tiredness that sleep cannot fully remove. A quiet space inside you where something once lived. You have been surviving, my child, far below the life I created you to live. And a part of you already knows that. Do not ignore that knowing. That pain is not weakness. That awareness, the feeling that something is not right, that life should not feel this difficult, that you were created for more than what you have been living through. That is your soul speaking honestly. And I am not angry with it. I am responding to it. I did not create you to live under this burden. I created you for peace. Not the shallow peace that comes when problems disappear and leaves when they return. But the deep peace, the steady peace, the kind that remains even when circumstances have not changed, because it is rooted in me, and not in what is happening around you. You have been searching for that peace in results, in people, and in situations that still have not been resolved. And when those places could not hold it, you kept moving forward, and you are still here. But listen to me clearly now. I did not bring you into this moment to tell you to keep pushing again. I brought you here to tell you that something has changed. Declare your amen if you believe this message is reaching your spirit today. My child, there is a place inside you that is quieter than your thoughts, deeper than your emotions, and beyond the noise that has surrounded you for so long. That place has always recognized my voice, even during the seasons when your mind was too full to hear me clearly. And I am speaking to that place right now. Not from far away, not from somewhere above the details of your life, but from right here, closer to you than your own breath. You have carried the belief that I am somewhere beyond your reach. That before you can find me, you must first fix your life, strengthen your faith, or clean your heart. That my nearness is something you must earn instead of something you can simply receive. My child, that belief was never true. I did not ask you to fight your way toward me. I came to you. I have always come to you. Not because your faith was strong enough, your prayers were beautiful enough, or your past was clean enough. I came because you belong to me. And I do not leave behind what belongs to me. Something brought you into this moment. You may call it chance, random scrolling, or the restless movement of a tired mind, but I tell you this, nothing that brings a heart nearer to my voice happens by accident. I arranged this. I placed this in your path at this hour, not as a coincidence, but as an appointment. Heaven does not work through coincidence when it concerns those it loves. The world around you is loud. It fills every open space with pressure, noise, and the constant comparison of your life with lives that were never meant to be yours. It enters the quiet places and fills them before you have time to rest. And you have lived within that noise for a long time, so long that silence has started to feel strange, so long that a quiet moment can sometimes feel as though something is wrong. But nothing is wrong. Stillness is where I have been waiting for you. It is where I can speak without competition. It is where the truth I have spoken over your life can finally reach you without being covered by everything else. So remain here with me. Let this moment become more than words passing through a tired mind. Let it become a meeting. Let what I am saying enter the places where you have been living with nothing left. into the parts of you that have slowly been losing their hold on hope. I have something to speak to those places, and what I say to them today will change the way you move forward from this hour. My beloved child, every road you have walked, every season that formed you, every turn you did not choose, and every chapter you would never have written for yourself, has remained within my sight. I have not lost sight of you. I have not placed you aside and forgotten to come back. You have remained before me the whole time, even during the moments when you were certain no one could see you. You were never unseen. You have never been unseen. You did not come here by accident. Heaven called you here, and heaven called you because something in your life is preparing to change. Stay with me. There is still more you need to hear. My child, the noise of the world does not only exist around you. It also finds a place inside you. The unfinished arguments, the old memories that return without permission, and the fear that always knows when to speak. You have listened to those voices for so long that they have started to sound reasonable. They have started to sound wise. But I tell you now, not every loud voice is speaking truth, and not every quiet voice should be ignored. I have been speaking quietly. I have been the calm presence beneath all your restlessness. I have been the peace that continued returning even when you expected it to leave you. I have remained steady through every season you have faced, and I remain steady now. My child, I want to teach you something about the way I speak, because you have accepted a lie from the world around you. A lie that says a voice must be loud before it can be trusted. That power must always announce itself. That divine authority must shake the room and remove every doubt. You have been waiting for a voice like thunder, but I often come like the first light entering a room before the morning fully begins. Not dramatic, not loud, simply present and slowly growing. The prophet stood upon the mountain. Before me came a wind strong enough to break the rocks apart. The ground shook. Fire appeared. And after all of it had passed, my voice came through a sound so quiet and gentle that only a heart truly listening could hear it. Not through the wind, not through the shaking, not through the fire, but through a gentle whisper. I was not missing from the storm, but the storm could not contain me. I was in the whisper. My beloved child, I am not holding back the thunder because I have no authority. I come gently because I honor the soul I am speaking to. I do not have to overpower you in order to reach you. I do not have to shake the ground beneath you to prove that I am close. The deepest place inside you does not open through pressure. It opens through love. And love knows how to enter gently. This is why I am asking you to slow down. Not as a punishment, not as a delay, but because the place where I meet you most deeply is not found on the surface of a hurried life. It is in the quiet room beneath all the movement, where your walls come down, where the performance ends, where you no longer have to keep acting like someone who is handling everything. That room is where I do my deepest work, and that is where I am meeting you now. There is something I want to show you. A quiet night from long ago, and a young heart learning for the first time that heaven calls people by name. The boy Samuel was resting inside the temple. The lamp was still burning. The house was silent, and inside that silence, I called his name. I did not call him before a crowd. I did not begin with noise or spectacle. I came in the ordinary darkness of a sleeping house when everything was quiet enough for one name to be heard. My child, this is often how I begin. In hidden places, when no one else is looking, when the soul becomes quiet enough to notice something that does not belong to the ordinary world. When Samuel heard me call, he did not understand it at first. He ran to Eli because he believed a human voice had spoken. He heard the call correctly, but his understanding was still growing. And this is what I want you to notice. I did not leave him because he misunderstood the first time. I called him again and again. Every time he stood up, every time he returned confused, something inside him was being drawn closer to understanding. The call was not wasted simply because he did not recognize it immediately. My beloved child, I have called you in ways you did not always understand. Through a quiet feeling that returned every time you tried to ignore it. Through a door that closed and would not open again no matter how hard you pushed. Through a peace that remained inside you during a season that gave you no logical reason to feel peaceful. Through a longing, not for more things, but for something more real than what the world had been giving you. That was my voice, not speaking through words, but speaking through your life. Do not judge yourself for the times you confused my voice with something else. Samuel lived inside the temple, close to me, and he still needed 3 calls before he understood. A listening heart grows during the calling, not only when recognition finally comes. There is something holy about becoming available, before you know what may be asked of you. Many people only want to hear from me, when the answer agrees with what they already want. Many say they want direction, but they avoid the quiet place where direction is actually given. They want a voice that fits their plans and their expectations. But I do not change my voice to match your expectations. I invite your heart to come and meet me where I already am. Samuel's simple response changed everything. Not because the words were impressive. Speak, Lord, for I am listening, but because his heart truly became open. He was not performing. He was not pretending to have certainty that he did not possess. He was a young heart in the darkness saying, I am here. Speak. And that was enough. My child, that same openness is enough from you. You do not need to come to me with perfect words, complete certainty, or a faith that has never struggled. You only need to become present. A quiet yes can open what years of effort could not. A sincere here I am can become the beginning of a new chapter in your life. The road Samuel walked, the road of learning to listen, learning to trust, and learning to carry the word given to him, began during one quiet night with one honest reply. Your path forward begins the same way. It begins not with more effort, but with deeper surrender. It begins not by becoming louder, but by becoming still enough to receive what I have already been saying. My beloved child, peace is often the doorway through which clarity enters. When your heart is restless, every choice can look dangerous. But when my peace comes in, the road may not always become easier. Still, it becomes clearer. You begin to understand what agrees with my nature. You begin to know the difference between holy correction and painful accusation. You begin to recognize which voice belongs to me. I am teaching you how to hear me. I am teaching you how to trust the quiet. I am teaching you how to remain still without believing you have been abandoned. This is not a small lesson. It is the foundation for everything else I desire to build in your life. My child, now I need to speak about something you have carried alone. Something you have never fully explained, not even to yourself, because putting it into words would have made it more real than you felt strong enough to face. But I see it. I have always seen it. You have lived beneath a weight that most people around you never noticed. Not because all of them were cruel, though some were, but because the heaviest burdens are often unseen. They are the burdens that do not appear on the outside, the ones you learn to hide behind a steady voice, a controlled expression, and the practiced habit of looking fine when you were not fine at all. I watched you do this. Day after day, I watched you enter rooms carrying more than anyone inside those rooms understood. I watched you answer questions about how you were feeling with words that were true enough to speak, but not honest enough to answer the deeper question. I watched you smile while your chest felt tight. I watched you keep giving when you were already empty. I watched you encourage other people during seasons when you were quietly losing your own balance. My child, I am not saying this to make you feel exposed. I am saying it because I want you to understand that nothing you carried was ever hidden from me. Not the weight of the nights, when your thoughts would not become quiet. Not the grief you held for things you could not explain, because you were unsure anyone would understand. Not the loneliness that stayed beside you even in rooms filled with people. Not the quiet and constant pain of a life that felt like it should have become something more than it was. I know how many mornings you woke up already exhausted. Not exhausted because you lacked sleep, but exhausted from the effort of keeping everything together. The effort of controlling fear, controlling disappointment, and controlling the distance between the life you were living and the life your spirit knew could exist. That kind of tiredness reaches deep inside. It cannot be healed by one night of sleep or by going somewhere new. It can only be healed by what I am bringing to you now. And I want you to understand something else. The battles you fought inside yourself, the battles no one witnessed, the battles that left no visible wound, were still real battles. They took something from you. The courage it required to continue when you wanted to stop. The strength it required to trust after trust had been damaged. The hope it required to keep holding on when holding on seemed like the least reasonable thing you could do. None of that was insignificant. Heaven saw it, and heaven does not see something and then forget it. Say, I receive if you believe heaven has been watching over your life. My child, I am asking you to place a portion of what you have, something of real weight, upon the altar of this work. As gold laid on the scales of this calling, let it be a seed sown into deep water, an offering set on stone, not held back in fear. This is proof that your trust rests in my hand to provide, and that your heart no longer clings to lack. What you release in faith does not leave your life. It moves ahead of you into the harvest I am preparing. My child, there were times when you came very close to giving up. Not in a loud way that others could notice, but in a quiet way inside yourself. The slow pulling back of hope. The gradual fading of expectation. The almost unseen shrinking of what you allowed yourself to believe could still happen in your life. You told no one, but I felt it. I felt every small retreat, every silent surrender, every moment your spirit whispered, maybe this is all there will ever be for me. And each time you reached that place, I stepped in. Not always in a visible way. Not always in a form you could point toward and call a miracle. Sometimes it was only a small breath of calm arriving, when the panic should have grown stronger. Sometimes it was a word from someone who had no way of knowing what you needed, yet somehow spoke it. Sometimes it was an unexpected moment of peace that made no sense because of everything happening around you. That was me, moving in hidden places and refusing to let you fall beyond the point of return. You believed you continued because of some strength buried within you. And you were not wrong. That strength is real. But it was being supported by something greater than your own reserves. I held you when your strength was finished. I carried parts of your life that you did not realize I was carrying. I entered places in your story where you thought you were alone, and I walked through them beside you. Nothing you went through was watched from far away. Not one moment of your breaking was seen without my presence near you. I did not remain distant and simply observe your pain. I was there inside it with you. And because I was there with you, it did not destroy you. It bent you in ways that cost you deeply, but it did not completely break you. And that was not chance. That was me, my child. You carried responsibilities too heavy for one heart. You carried pain caused by people who should have treated you better. You carried blame for things that were never your fault, and shame for seasons you never chose. All of it settled over your spirit until you could barely remember what it felt like to move through a day without heaviness. And still you kept showing up. Still you continued trying. Still you gave to others what you were struggling to give to yourself. I saw the bravery in that. Not the loud and visible bravery the world praises, but the quiet daily bravery of someone who continues choosing what is right when it would be easier not to. That kind of bravery matters to me. It is not overlooked in heaven, even when it is overlooked on earth. I am not finished with your story. I have never been finished with your story. And what I am preparing to do next in your life will bring meaning to much of what you have carried. Not because suffering should be praised, but because nothing you went through passed through my hands without being shaped into something that will help you. The hardest parts of your story are not the final word. They are the ground upon which something new is now being built. My child, I need you to hear what I am going to say. Not only with the surface of your mind, but with the deep place inside you that I have been drawing closer throughout this moment. Because what I am about to speak over your life is not simple comfort meant to make today easier. It is a declaration of what heaven has already chosen. The season that has been draining you is over. Not someday. Not after your circumstances change. Not after the right door opens, the right person arrives, or enough time has gone by. It is over. The long chapter that weakened you, confused your direction, and made you question things you should never have needed to question has reached its appointed ending. I am closing it myself. And what I close, nothing and no one on earth or beneath it can open again. You may ask me, how can you say it is over when I still feel its weight? And I will answer you honestly. Things finish in the unseen before they finish in your feelings. A season closes in heaven before the heart on earth fully understands it. Freedom is announced in the spiritual world, before it becomes fully visible in the physical world. You have already stepped away from what was holding you. Your spirit is ahead of your emotions at this moment. Your emotions are learning to accept a reality that heaven has already confirmed. The moment I spoke these words, the hold of that season became weaker. The moment I announced the change, the darkness lost its right to control this chapter of your life. You are now coming into agreement with something heaven has already completed. My child, no former battle will follow you into what I am opening next. What tried to destroy you in the season behind you has no access to the season I am leading you into. The fear that held your thoughts captive, the confusion that covered your purpose, the heaviness that pressed against your chest at night, none of it has permission to enter your new beginning. I have placed a wall between your past and your future. A wall built not by your strength, but by my word, and my word remains. The relationships that emptied you will not enter. The patterns that kept you tired will not repeat. The voices that lied about your value, your future, and your place in this world have been removed from you. Not every ending you faced was a loss. Some things fell away because they could not go with you into the place where I am leading you. I was clearing the way before you understood that the road was changing. There were things you grieved that I removed with purpose. Opportunities that ended, doors that closed, and paths that disappeared. Even when you pushed against them with all your strength, you stood before those endings with sadness and confusion. You asked me why. You asked why the thing you worked for, prayed for, or gave yourself to could not remain. And I am telling you now, those endings were not failures. They were guidance. I was not keeping something good from you. I was protecting you from what would have stopped you from reaching the better thing I had already prepared. My beloved child, a branch that has been pruned does not appear blessed. It appears cut. It appears delayed. It appears like loss. But pruning is not punishment. It is preparation for fruit that the branch could never have carried before. You have been pruned, and now you will carry what you were not able to carry before. The enemy tried to make you see those endings as rejection. He tried to make you believe my redirection meant you were unwanted, unworthy, or not chosen. He gave you the lie that every closed door proved the worst things you feared about yourself. But none of those closed doors were rejection from me. Every one of them was protection. I saw what was beyond them that you could not see, and I loved you enough to say no, even when you were asking with all your heart. My child, this is what I need you to remember as you move forward. I am not a God who overlooks the details of your life. I am not far away or unconcerned about what happens in your days. I am present in the exact moments, the exact doors, the exact relationships, seasons, and choices that brought you to where you are now. Nothing was random. Nothing was left to chance. And none of it, not even the most painful part, happened outside my sight or beyond the reach of my restoration. The old season is over. Your spirit already knows it. Even if your mind is still catching up, something has changed. The ground beneath you is not the same ground it was when this moment began. You are standing now at the start of something new. And what I build in your life next will not look like the ruins left by the old season. It will stand on foundations that season could not destroy, because I am the one putting them in place. My beloved child, when heaven makes a decision about a life, earth begins to move into agreement with it. This is not just a picture. This is how my authority works. I did not create you and then step away from the details. I am fully present in the story of your life, and I am working in this moment. I am declaring an ending to what has held you back, and I am declaring a beginning to what I have been preparing for you. You have walked through a long night, but every night has an end. The morning I am bringing into your life is not weak or temporary, fading when the next problem appears. It is a morning that changes the way everything after it feels. It is a morning built on the truth of what I have spoken over you. And that truth does not change when your circumstances do. Move forward from this moment in a different way. Move forward knowing the chapter behind you has been closed by my hand. Move forward knowing that what you are entering was not put together quickly. I have been preparing it longer than you have been waiting for it. It is ready, and you are ready, even if being ready does not feel the way you expected. My child, I want to remove something from you now. Something that will change the way you understand the battles you have faced. Because you have been carrying a story about those battles that is not completely true. And a false story about your pain changes how you see yourself, how you see what is ahead, and how much hope you allow yourself to hold. The truth is this. You were not attacked because you were weak. You were attacked because you carry something darkness was afraid of. Let that truth rest inside you for a moment. The pressure that came against your mind. The thoughts that told you that you were not enough. That tried to make you give up. That placed fear where I had planted purpose. None of that was random. The waves of confusion that came just as you were beginning to move forward. The sudden storms that appeared when something good was starting to grow in your life. Those things were not accidents. The timing of your hardest seasons was intentional. But that intention did not come from me. It came from the one who saw what I placed inside you and wanted to stop it before it could rise. The enemy is not foolish, my child. He does not spend his strength on lives that carry no influence. He does not fight what is no threat. He goes after what holds real promise and real light. And he came after you. He saw the calling on your life before you fully understood it. He saw the person you were becoming through those hard seasons. He saw the strength being formed inside you. He saw the wisdom growing in the places that hurt most. He saw the compassion rising, because you had walked through your own darkness and lived through it. And all of that troubled him because someone with your story, someone who has faced what you have faced and still believes, still reaches for hope, still refuses to become hard, carries a powerful kind of light. You thought you were only barely making it through those seasons. You thought you were failing because the weight did not lift quickly enough. Because the answers did not arrive when you asked. Because the battles lasted longer than you believed you could bear. But I tell you now, you were not failing. You were winning. And the enemy fought you hardest in those moments, because he knew how close you were to reaching the place he never wanted you to reach. My child, during your hardest seasons, heaven was fighting for you in ways you could not see. When fear pressed against your mind at night, something stood firm. When hopelessness tried to settle in your spirit, something remained inside you that would not allow it to stay completely. When darkness tried to tell you your story was finished, something kept you reaching forward. That was not only your own will. That was my hand. Angels moved for you. Roads of destruction were blocked before they reached your life. Moments meant to break you were turned in another direction. You passed through some seasons without knowing how much was being held back from you. How many things intended to cause greater damage never reached you. You did not fall because heaven would not allow you to fall. You believed it was only your own endurance, and your endurance was real. But beneath it, holding it up, was my protection. You were covered in seasons when you did not even know you were covered. Declare, I am chosen, if this truth is reaching the place inside you that needed it. My beloved child, the attacks came against your mind. Thoughts that made you question your identity, your value, and your right to hope. The enemy knows that someone who does not understand who they are cannot fully walk in what they were created to do. So he attacked the root. He attacked your view of yourself. He tried to make you forget who you are by covering the truth with enough pain, enough disappointment, and enough silence that it became difficult to feel, even when you still believed it. But your identity is not decided by how clearly you can feel it. Your identity was established by me, and what I said does not disappear because life became hard. You are still who I said you are. Every season of confusion, every chapter of pain, every voice that tried to define you by your losses and your failures, none of it changed the name I gave you. You are mine. That has never moved. Not even slightly. The attacks also came against your relationships. People who should have felt safe became sources of pain. Trust was broken in places where it should have been guarded. Community failed you in the moments when you needed it most. And I know how deeply that affected you. I know that wounds from people who were meant to love you well go deeper than wounds from strangers. I know how they change the way you approach trust afterward. But hear me clearly. I have not left your relationships in ruins. The people who were removed from your life, whether through betrayal or simply because a season ended, those endings were not the final word on what is still possible for you in love, friendship, and belonging. I am building something new in that part of your life as well. What I am bringing will not repeat the pain of what you lost. It will be built on different ground, stronger ground. Ground I have prepared. Every attack that came against you failed to reach its final goal. You are still here. You are still standing. You are still believing. And the life I have called you toward is not only still possible, it is now even more possible because of what you faced and survived. My child, I want to take you somewhere now, into a place many people resist, because it requires seeing your story differently than pain taught you to see it. I want to show you what was beneath the things you believed were losses. I want to show you what my hand was doing during the seasons that felt silent. You prayed prayers that were not answered in the way you asked. You know this. There were exact requests, exact pleas, exact moments when you placed something before me and waited, and the answer that came was not the answer you needed it to be. And you took those moments as proof of one thing, that I was not listening, or that I heard you but did not care enough to move, or that something in you made you undeserving of the answer you were asking for. Every one of those thoughts was wrong. I want to correct them now. When I did not answer your prayer in the way you wanted, it was not because I was gone. It was because I was working, but in a different direction from the one you were looking toward. My silence was not carelessness. My silence was strategy. My no was not rejection. My no was protection. There were relationships you wanted to keep that I allowed to end. You prayed for them to be restored. You believed with true faith that things could become different. And they did not change. Not in the way you prayed. And you grieved it. You may still be grieving it. But my child, if you had seen what I saw, you would have cried with relief that those things came to an end. You were asking me to save something that would have taken more from you than you could afford to give. You were asking from what you understood. I was deciding from what I could see. And what I saw required me to say no. Those closed doors were not proof that I was far away. They were proof that I was near. I was close enough to your story to see what you could not see. I was involved enough in your life to move things before they reached you. The loss you felt was real. The pain from it was real, but the ending itself was a rescue, even when it did not feel like one. My beloved child, there were opportunities you tried to push into being that would have taken you down a path that became smaller instead of wider. You would have given years to something that ended in tiredness and emptiness. You would have poured yourself into a direction that did not match what I had placed inside you. You would have settled, not because you lacked desire, but because you had not yet learned how to trust what I was doing in the waiting. So I closed those doors, not to hold you back, but to free you from a smaller version of your life. And the delays, the seasons when progress seemed impossible, when you could not understand why things that should have moved remained still. Those delays were not because I neglected you. I was working on things you could not see. I was shifting people. I was moving timing into position. I was preparing you in ways that needed more than you believed was necessary. I was bringing the destination into agreement with the person you were still becoming. You could not enter what I had prepared until you had become what that place needed. The delay was never about what you were missing. It was about what was still being finished in you and around you. My child, the unanswered prayers were not truly unanswered. They were answered in another way. They were answered with a wisdom that will only become completely clear when you look back. There will come a moment, and some of you have already seen parts of it, when you look back and understand why certain things did not happen as you planned. When you see that the no which broke your heart then was actually the turning point in your story. When you understand that the road you were trying to force would have led you away from the life I was guiding you toward. I was not keeping things from you when I redirected you. I was preparing you. I was not quiet because I did not care. I was quiet like a surgeon is quiet, focused, careful, doing what needed to be done instead of explaining every move. My silence during those seasons was active, not empty. I was there. I was working. I was fighting for your future in places you did not even know were there. My beloved child, everything in your story, the prayers answered the way you hoped, and the ones redirected, the doors that opened and the ones that closed, the seasons of plenty and the seasons of waiting, all of it has remained within my sight. All of it has stayed in my hands. Nothing slipped through. Nothing was left to chance. Nothing in your life was ever outside the reach of my purpose. So let the grief you carried over the closed doors begin to loosen. Let the anger you felt toward endings that seemed harsh begin to soften into trust. Not because what happened did not hurt. It did. But because the one who allowed it was not distant or careless. The one who allowed it was near and intentional. And the intention was always for your good. Always for your protection. Always for the fuller life I have been leading you toward. You are not someone who was abandoned and redirected without care. You are someone who has been guided carefully and intentionally by a love that did not pull back. Even when it had to say no to what you were asking for, so it could say yes to what I had already prepared. My child, this is where everything changes. This is the moment when what is behind you stops deciding what is ahead of you. This is the crossing point, not a future moment, not one that needs more time, more proving, or more waiting. But this one, right here, in the breath you are taking now. As these words settle inside you, I am restoring you, not to the version of yourself that existed before the difficult seasons. That person did not yet carry the depth you now carry. I am restoring you to the full person I always meant for you to become. The clarity you lost, I am returning it. The confidence that was worn down through years of facing battles you never asked for. I am rebuilding it on ground that will remain steady. The peace that was taken from you little by little through disappointment, loss, and the slow fading of hope. I am giving it back not in small pieces, but in a measure equal to what you gave up. Joy is coming to you. And I do not mean a shallow happiness that disappears when life becomes hard. I mean a deep joy that can remain beside difficult things without being removed by them. The kind the psalm writer carried when he said, "You have turned my mourning into dancing." That kind, a joy that has gone through the fire and come out as something the fire can no longer touch. Rest is coming to you. Not only the physical rest of a body that has been moving for too long, but the rest of the soul that comes when you finally stop carrying what was never meant for you to carry. When you put down the weight of results you cannot control, the approval of people who were never supposed to decide your worth, the pressure of a timeline that was never yours to manage. When you release those things, and I am helping you release them, a different kind of rest enters your life. It is not the same as sleep. It is the rest of a soul that has found steady ground again. Your understanding of who you are is returning to you. The long seasons of questioning your value, your purpose, and your place in this world, those seasons are now behind you. What I say about you is not erased by what those seasons told you. You are not defined by the moments when you felt most confused, most frightened, or most alone. You are defined by the word I spoke over you before the storm. And that word has never changed. The people you love, the ones you carry in prayer, the names that live in the deepest parts of your heart, I see them too. What I am doing inside you is not separated from them. The peace that comes into your life has a way of spreading outward. The healing that starts in one heart rarely remains only in that heart. What I give you will move beyond you. It will reach them in ways neither you nor they will completely understand. Trust me with them as you are learning to trust me with yourself. My beloved child, the life I am opening before you is not a copy of what you lost. It is not a repaired version of your old hopes arranged differently so they appear new. It is something I have been building since long before you reached the end of your own strength and had to stop trying to create it by yourself. I know exactly what this life is meant to hold. I know exactly who it is meant to touch. I know exactly what your spirit was made to carry, and what will make you feel alive in a way that striving never could. You do not need to design it. You do not need to force it to happen. You do not need to understand every step before taking the first one. You only need to walk beside me. Near enough to hear my voice. Open enough to follow when I lead. Trusting enough to rest in the steps you cannot yet see. That is all. That has always been all. My child, you have made it through a long night. But this is what I need you to understand as you move forward from this moment. You did not survive those seasons only to return to an ordinary life. You survived them so you could enter something your spirit always knew was possible. The longing you felt for more than the life you had been living, that longing was not simple restlessness. It was true. It was pointing you toward the life I was holding for you while the storm continued doing what storms do. The storm has ended. The life is here. And I am here too, beside you as you take your first steps into it. My child, a life no longer controlled by struggle may feel unfamiliar to you. Peace can feel strange to a soul that has spent so long inside hardship. Allow that unfamiliar feeling to settle. This is what it feels like when the burden finally comes off. You do not need to earn your way into what I am giving you. Just open your hands and receive it. Declare, I trust you, Lord, if you are moving forward into the new season I have opened for you today. We run on viewer support only. For exclusive member-only content, scan the QR or see the pinned comment. God bless you.